What do I think about it? The world building is crazy. Like, epic is a really big foundational word. The only thing that I'm gonna say that's gonna sound really bad, that feels incomplete. What's going on out there, YouTube family? This is Samuel Leggy here representing Team JVS. I'm back here again for the review. This is probably outside of, Zack Snyder Justice League, The Matrix. I'm trying to think of another film that is highly anticipated that we've been waiting years for. Spider-Man, of course, No Way Home. But Dune. I'm talking about Dune by Denis Villeneuve. They're starring Jason Momoa, Rebecca Ferguson, Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya, Oscar Isaac, and a whole slew of people, and tackling this very complicated subject matter that Frank Herbert created in his original book that was translated to film once and then translated to all over different places, and the sci-fi film. So for me, the sci-fi series is the one that I actually really truly remember. So just keep that in mind when I'm going through this. So when I first finished the movie, I had a very interesting, perspective and reaction because I didn't know what the book entailed. And I also felt this weird feeling of a part one, part two kind of thing. And I'll just let you guys know very up in front that I think will help you cognitively put into perspective what this movie is. This is the part one. That's it. Okay. So there is a part two and this is covering the first book. Okay. So the subject matter is this, best way I can kind of give it to you. You got Oscar Isaac's character. He's the Duke. Duke Leto Atreides is the leader of his own location. And he's been entitled by the emperor to go to a specific world to not only command and lead it to, but to bring resonance and power from what the planet supplies, which is the spice. The spice is what generates a certain amount of power within the sanctity of the galaxy. And so anybody that has that kind of power, is going to be able to take over everything. So they want to try to make sure to secure it. Now, Timothée Chalamet's character, his name is Paul Atreides. He's the son of the Duke, and his character is, when you first see him, is going through a whole bunch of visions. You don't really know what's going on. You see the character Zendaya's character. You don't know. I'm not going to reveal anything about her character in this review whatsoever. But he sees her quite a bit. And he sees Jason Momoa's character, who is Duncan Idaho, who is a very fearsome warrior, one of their best. And he's starting to see things that don't make sense to him because it looks like things that take place later on. Now, one thing that I found very fascinating is Rebecca Ferguson's character, Lady Jessica Atreides. Now, Lady Jessica is a part of a faction named I don't know if I'm going to pronounce it right, I apologize, the Ben Gesserit, who's kind of like a religious faction, but they also have very much so political pull as much as actual power. When you think about, without spoiling too much, a certain Wars series and a certain faction of people, think about them in that way. And so by birthright, he also has inherited not only the power from the Duke, but also an otherworldly kind of power from Rebecca Ferguson's character, Lady Jessica. And she, very off the gate, is teaching him certain things that you just are like, wait, I don't understand now. Because, the thing about this, and I haven't talked about anything about the overdrop of what I actually felt or anything. I'm going to go ahead and try to give you guys the most clear and concise review as I possibly can before I get to my actual point. Now, the scope and the set design, I don't know what was real and what wasn't. Of course, you see in flying stuff, but when things land and when things are moving, when things are positioning, the set design is immaculately amazing. The costume design, specifically like the character, the Baron, Stellan Skarsgård, like he is unrecognizable and he is just disgusting. Even Dave Bautista, the Beast, like the skin pigmentation and the look and the feel of this other group and this other faction, just the design of them is amazing. But the armor as well, and also the way that the faction that the Duke and Paul fight towards in their uses of technology, the shielding, the knife fighting, the choreography, like all the different layers of how this is supposed to function is very precise. The other thing that I felt really fascinating is that there are some moments that are very blacked out. Like there's some moments that made me go back to the original Star Wars: A New Hope. Like there are things where I'm like, wow, I don't know what that means. I don't know what I'm seeing right now. Wow, that's freaking amazing. Like from a science fiction standpoint, this movie has pretty much all the things. It's got supernatural elements to it that you don't comprehend or understand. It's got a faction that you know for a fact it's got political gain, and you know the things that are going to lead to death, but also lead to potential hope and resonance, specifically surrounding Timothée Chalamet's character, Paul. And I think that from that standpoint, I think that all that world building and the feeling of this being an epic, it almost makes you like, I looked at it in the theater and I felt like, yes, I would enjoy it watching on my television, but this is one of those ones that is an experience-based film, that the reality of the capturing of the feeling that you see when you first see like what the spice is, when you see the actual world, when you see the ships, there's freaking ships that you would think, okay, those are helicopters. Like, no, they are modeled after freaking dragonflies. And I kid you not, like the detail to those are insane. And also the way they are utilized. The way that the organizations differently function. Because there's a lot of exposition that kind of explain a lot of things. So where if I didn't see the original series or I didn't see the original movie, I would still understand what's really going on. Now, that's a negative and a positive I'll get to later. The performances. Timothée Chalamet, one of the things I can say key on is that he is a great actor, period. And I was kind of wondering if they were going to be like, oh, well, this is an action movie. This is, we're going to stick to the lawyer. He's going to stick to his role. When there are emotionally resonant moments, he captured it. When there are action moments, he's there. I remember looking at The King with Netflix and I was like, oh man, this man, he can do it everything. He can do it all. And I think that the only down moments were when he wasn't really doing anything. But even then, you could tell there are certain things that are going on with his eyes that he's looking and observing and sensing things that are happening. There's a specific moment that happens out in the sand. He has a random vision and tears to start throwing down, but he's not reacting. And I was like, that's just great acting. Rebecca Ferguson, I think she delivers a great performance as Lady Jessica. I mean, especially even in comparison with the sci-fi series I actually liked, I thought she was really good. I think that Oscar Isaac did well for what he was given. I think that his role was well done, but it wasn't anything better than what he's been doing. I think that Jason Momoa definitely stepped it up. As the hero, as the person that, Paul rallies behind and tries to help, he embodies that role perfectly. He really does show out when you man, some of the choreography just off of his character alone is freaking awesome. Zendaya, I think that the uses of her with a lot of the sci-fi and the flashback moments are very key and important, but it's not enough for me to I don't have anything to garner anything about her character, whether take it or leave it. If I'm making a comparison from the original or from the sci-fi series, then yeah, I can say something towards that, but I can't. Javier Bardem, same exact thing. I think he's an amazing actor, but there wasn't enough screen time for me to justify whether or not I'm, just connected to. To be truthfully honest with you, because this is a part one, this is where it goes into the negatives and the positives, depending on who you are. If you're a person that's read the Dune books, or if you're a person that's looked at the series and know the overarching everything, you will be like, this is all I needed. This is all I really needed. And I'm excited, and I'm going to wait until part two comes out. Because I didn't know, from where this movie ends, it just ends. And I was like, oh man, it's Mockingjay all over again. But no, think Deathly Hallows in the way that ends. I think that's a better comparison in the way that the projection of what Denis wants this to go. And from the scope standpoint, I was like, this is 2 hours and 30 minutes. Why are you going to just end it? So for me, it was kind of it was really jarring. And I immediately was like, this feels incomplete. Where am I going to go? I need to see more. And then, I don't know the overarching side of where the part two goes. And now I've been able to understand that a little bit better. So any of you guys that are book connoisseurs and understand the world, I think you're going to be fine with the way this actually ends. It just builds up more excitement, but it is not the conventional cliffhanger. There's no cliffhanger whatsoever. It ends on just like that. And you're just like, well, do I care about any of these characters? Do I care where this goes next? If I haven't read anything or actually read, like if anybody that doesn't know anything about Dune, I wonder, honestly, I don't really know. And I don't want to say that you're not going to be behind it, because you might just based off the world building alone and the scope behind it, you might just rally behind this. But I can see where some people possibly, if they don't connect with any of these characters, or if the characters they connect with don't work, or if, this ends on a way where you needed a cliffhanger to draw you to something near, this may be a little bit of confliction for you. So I think that's why I wanted to take time to really accurately express my feelings and thoughts about it. In terms of the characters and the feeling that there's something behind the curtains that I can't see, brings me excitement. Because the more, like, even last night talking to one of my good friends, that's read the book, shout out to Anthony Gold, shout out to you, bro, as well as Lucas. I was able to gather a little bit more perspective because things I just didn't know. And I was kind of like, oh, wow, this makes me a little bit more interested. This makes me understand a little bit more what I actually did see. But I would implore you, if you go and watch it, again, you're not a critic, so you don't have to worry about it. But if you are watching it for the very first time, go and just allow it to kind of sink in so you can kind of get an understanding for yourself. Like, what do you really feel about it? Is this something that you want to see more? And I think that's where it's going to be really hard for me to kind of rate this, because I feel like this is an open-ended perspective. Like, it could be that just the science fiction and the scope alone got you. It could be that the characters and the prospect of Timothée Chalamet's character by himself is enough to garner you. It could be that, the things that the Baron does, or the things that are the maniacal things or the skeeving things that are happening from the political side, you're kind of like, well, all these pieces don't fit yet, so I need pieces. Or you could be the other side of that, where you're like, I need pieces to keep me going towards. I need other characters to establish to make me go forward. Or you could be like, oh, well, I don't know if I care anymore. So that's where I don't want to project anything to you guys, say yay, nay. All I can say is the movie is epic. The set design is amazing. I think that the score is probably one of Hans' better scores he's done in a very long time. I think that it definitely hits when it needs to hit. I think that the color grading worked really well, but some of the night shots I just really couldn't see on a low rated resolution screen. Like, if you're in the theaters and you're watching it, there's some things you're just not going to be able to see. Some of the details, I kind of felt like, man, maybe I need subtitles to watch this. And to be fair, I look at most of my movies with subtitles. So I really wanted to know what was going on. And sometimes that happens, specifically with Hans, with his scores, especially with any of the Nolan films. This is an amazing scope of a film. Like, as a science fiction film alone, it is good. Is it great? Is it a masterpiece? Not yet. To me, I can't say it's a masterpiece yet. I can't say it's great yet, because I don't have enough for me to justify saying where this is going. From what I saw, from what I can see, from what I can receive, and now even where I get more perspective, I think now I can say effectively, this is a very good film that I think that you should experience. Not necessarily just watch this for your leisure, but no, if you're like, oh, I want to get immersed into what, Frank was trying to give, I think that this will be your best dabble and touch into what that perspective of what Dune could be for you, or what it's always been for a lot of you guys that are avid fans of the universe that he created. But as far as rating, I would rate this at a 8 out of 10. This is not a bad movie at all. I definitely felt this feeling of incompletion, but now I understand why, which I can't say or share. If you guys want me to go into more details in a spoiler review, I will bring Anthony Gold back into this, and we will go over the things that I saw, and we can go and riff back and forth to give you guys more perspective, fresh perspective, when this drops on October 22nd. The day after that, we'll drop our spoiler review. If you don't, it's fine. Just make sure you please leave a like, subscribe, hit that bell button, and you guys stay blessed, stay safe. Peace, guys.